Next on the Broadway Show, you're going to need a bigger boat. We're talking to the stars of the hilarious Making of Jaws drama, The Shark is Broken. Plus, let's get physical.
In 2022, MJ the Musical won the Tony Award for Best Choreography. I'm Perry Sook, speaking with the physical therapist who keeps these triple threats bringing the thrill.
I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is the Broadway Show.
It's the Broadway Show, and we're back with another good one. I'm Tamsen Fadal.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water, it's The Shark is Broken. It's a hilarious drama about the chaotic making of Hollywood's first summer blockbuster, Jaws.
Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
Thanks, Tamsen. Get ready to go behind the scenes of the making of the hit film Jaws in the new play, The Shark is Broken. I'm sitting down with stars Alex Brightman and Colin Donnell. Welcome, gentlemen. You are back on Broadway in a play. I've seen you both do amazing musical theater work, but this is a play. This is elevated, no?
We don't get the crutch of being able to sing and dance this time. We have to do the trapeze with no net. This is just scenes and us talking and connecting.
No conductor pulling us along.
Yes, which is very new for me.
Yeah, I was saying to Alex when we were talking before we got into rehearsals, I was like, it feels like we're being let into a new club after 20 years in the business, which is amazing and weird, but it's so cool. I mean, we get to do a play on Broadway.
My first ever professional gig was a play, and then it's been 15 years of musicals. So I'm so excited to be back. And he's right, it does feel like we're being let into some exclusive kind of VIP thing, which is very nice. Not taking it for granted.
The Shark is Broken was a big hit in London. Now it's on Broadway. And I love this because I'm a film buff and I love behind the scenes film history. And the making of Jaws is a crazy history. And it's been talked about often, but no one's really thought about doing something like this on Broadway.
I mean, it's so interesting, not only getting a glimpse of, well, a fictionalized version of what it was like to film, because I think the truth is sort of stranger than fiction, as we come to see, but also our version is so special because Ian Shaw is writing about and playing his father, which adds this whole other layer to the piece that I think was so evident and clear from the first read of it. You just knew it was something special.
What I love about Ian's writing of this, it's so personal, and it could be so easy to write your dad as some heroic type, as some sort of monument to him. And I think what makes this play great is that none of us come out smelling like a rose, and I think it's just very truthful to what it was, including Robert Shaw, which I think is an incredible feat to do that, to write candidly and gritty about your dad. But I think that is what really makes this incredible.
It's partially based on a book called The Jaws Log, which was written by Carl Gottlieb. Chronicling the filming of Jaws and all of its ups and downs is a nice way to put it. And then also from a drinking diary that Ian's father kept, which is exactly what it sounds like. I mean, it was basically chronicling his struggles with alcohol throughout, and that's where he was drawing his inspiration from.
So it is a fictionalized look at this, but it is a pretty educated fictionalized look too, with all the sort of information we do have. But I think Ian has sort of added these incredible little moments with these three guys.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
So it's these three guys who were huge film stars, very talented men, stuck on a boat. Bruce the Shark is broken.
Yes, constantly.
And this shark was the problem. I mean, no one could figure out how to get this shark to work.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, it was a multitude of things, but that was at the core of it. And then you had the fact that they were shooting on the ocean, which presents its own troubles with the weather, and the people of Martha's Vineyard who were growing sort of, shall we say, impatient with the way things were going on set. And so like, they just had delay after delay after delay, and what was supposed to be an 8-week shoot turned into a 16-week shoot.
The shark being broken is this incredible metaphor for everything that was broken, including eventually the actors. I mean, what you'll see in this is this sort of spiral into madness, truly. that is represented by all of the things that we're breaking down. So it's not just a physical breaking down, it is a mental, emotional, spiritual breakdown of these three egos.
You have both had very healthy now showbiz careers. Is it fun to do something that's about actors, and what do you love about this specific story of these three men?
For me, I never take things casually as an actor. I believe in hard work, I believe in dedication, I believe in obsessively doing extracurricular work in anything that I've ever done, and to see it reflected in these guys is very validating. Even though there is ego and sort of a pompousness to some of them in moments, it has taught me a little bit more about acting. And I will say this, and I've said it before, I, in this play, feel more like an actor than I have ever felt in anything that I've ever done.
Want to see more of Paul's interview? Head over to Broadway.com for an extended version.
Sure, the child is cursed, but the story? Well, it's pure magic. I sat down with the actor who plays grown-up Harry Potter, Steve Haggard.
Well, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Well, so I have to ask you, you are a newbie to New York. How has it been treating you? It's a little bit different than what we were used to.
It's great. I have been falling in love with it. Chicago was like my home and my heart for a long time. I'm just surprised that I feel so at home in New York. There's always a changing, there's always a going and a movement about New York that I've never been any place like it. So.
I couldn't agree more
Listen
with you.
to me, I'm such a tourist.
I know, I love it. I want to take you on the big red bus or whatever that is.
Show me New York. And I get to go to work every day and be Harry Potter, so that helps.
Yeah, that's not a bad gig, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, talk about how that happened, because originally you were Harry and Draco, correct?
Sure.
And how long did that last before you got the...
Well, I was the understudy for Harry and Draco, and so I was able to do Harry a couple times in the two-part, and Draco, which was a lot of fun to be able to sort of do the different versions of that. And then after the shutdown, we came back and I opened the show as Harry. They asked me to be Harry, and I said yes.
I think I'll do it.
Yeah, maybe, let me think about it. One of my favorite things about doing the show is getting to see people experience the Wizarding world in a different way. So like maybe they've read the books, or they've seen a movie or two, or all of them, if you're me, and they come in, they step into this theater, the Lyric Theater, and from the get-go, you're in a world in which magic exists, in which magic is just a given. To be able to experience that every day new with a new audience is, that's really a joy.
I think what's exciting is so many people, I think myself included, waited so long to dive into that world, right? Like we imagined it in our heads, we saw it in a movie, but it wasn't really tangible. And I think the show makes it feel tangible, right?
One of my favorite things is to hear kids who come see it, and I'll do an illusion. We rehearse these illusions for months. We're very precise about them because they are happening every time right in front of the audience. And they have to be very precise to work. Hearing the kids in the audience go, ah, like, what?
And the adults, by the way.
Well, that too. I had a friend who came to see it. They kept being like, how do you do that? How does this work? How does this work? And at some point over the course of the show, they were just like, I give up, I give over. I don't know how it works, I don't know.
You really are magical.
Yeah. But I think that energy is what makes the job such a pleasure to do, because you remember like, oh, someone's experiencing the Wizarding world for the first time tonight.
Let's talk about how you got started in theater and acting. You've had a lot of different jobs, I understand, from Chicago, right?
Oh, sure. I've had a lot of different jobs outside of theater too. But
what did you have?
Oh man, I had some weird jobs. I moved libraries.
What does that mean?
Did you know that libraries have to move from time to time? So I don't know. It was me and like
a lot of library. I don't know. You move
like
books?
Colleges. Yeah, you move books. You go and you move books. You put them on a truck. You move the furniture around. I mean, you have to make a living. I was a waiter. I'm a terrible waiter.
You are? Why?
Yes.
You can't remember? How could you not remember orders? You remember lines all night long.
I get so stressed out. I got stressed out. I once dumped a tray full of, I got fired this night, but I dumped a tray full of ice water down this lady's backless dress. It was terrible. My manager was like, Steve, can we have a conversation? And then we both mutually agreed that it was not the best job for me.
It wasn't a firing, it was a negotiation.
Yeah, we worked it out. I was like, you're right, I'm terrible.
Now, how did you first get involved in theater? Did you say, like, this is always what I wanted to do? Did you, was it a...
No, I got cut from the baseball team.
What do you mean? You got cut from the baseball team, so you decided to do theater?
Yeah. My mom was like, you gotta get out of the house. And so my mom encouraged me to do theater. My high school ended up having this amazing theater program. And my friend sort of tricked me into auditioning for the director. I did a bunch of like impressions, I guess, when I was younger.
Of people?
People, I thought.
Can I see one?
Absolutely not.
Why? You do magic every night. Just one.
No, no, it's funny. I think I was really, I don't know if I was good at it when I was
Somebody thought you were good at it.
Somebody did. And they sort of, they surrounded me and wouldn't let me go until I did it for the director. And the director was like,
You're in.
You should
play baseball,
you should be in a play, kid.
It takes a whole lot of people to keep a Broadway show running, from the actors on stage to the orchestra and the people behind the scenes, whose names you don't see on the playbill. Our man Perry is on the town.
Thanks, Tamsen. Athletic feats can be very strenuous on the body, especially when you do them 8 times a week like they do here on Broadway. Add that to the moves of MJ and MJ the Musical, and you might need a physical therapist. Luckily, they've got one here at the Neil Simon. Let's head inside to meet the girl who keeps them dancing. Anyone home? Hello!
How's it going?
Good, Zoe. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Perfect. So we are here with Zoe Taha, the physical therapist here on MJ the Musical. Mind showing me where you work?
Yeah, come on in.
Let's go. Wow, for the grandeur of MJ, they sure don't give you a lot of space back here, do they?
Wait till you see the PT room.
Oh, wow. So right here on this table is where you do it all, yeah?
This is where we do it all, in this tiny little room.
That's crazy. So how many, it's a pretty big cast in MJ. How many of the people are you working on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I'm here about 9 hours a week. So it kind of depends on the day, whether I'm here for 2.5 hours, an hour and a half. But yeah, so we have 20-minute slots. They're usually all full.
I can imagine. I mean, the physicality of the show, not only is it so dance heavy, it's so specific. I mean, when you think MJ, you think the leaning, you think all the moves, that isolation, that's gotta be tough on the muscles. Are there any specific ones that you see yourself working on more than others?
Yeah, so I've worked on a lot of shows now, and there's some shows where it'll be one injury is really prevalent for the whole show, so shoulders or ankles. But MJ, I think because it is such a whole body movement, I kind of see a little bit of everything. So necks, shoulders, backs, legs, everything. So it's kind of nice that way. We get a good amount of variety.
What would you say the difference is, going from show to show? I mean, besides, is it, the conditions of the stage or the movement, or what do you think contributes the most to the wear down that you're treating in here?
Yeah, I think with this show and with a lot of Broadway shows, it's kind of just the repetitive nature. So, most people aren't used to doing things 8 times a week. And,
right.
With this show, people are doing these movements 8 times a week, and it's really hard. So I think just like the repetitive nature of the show is why people come in and have injuries or, need maintenance. But it could be, they had a really long week with rehearsals or, they were on vacation, so they were resting for a week, and now they're back and they're kind of shell-shocked. So yeah, it's kind of just all over the place.
When you were studying to be a physical therapist, were you like, yeah, I'm going to be on Broadway? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I kind of, I thought I wanted to go to med school, and I majored in dance in college and broke my foot dancing, and I went to a great dance medicine PT. And from that moment on, I was like, this is it. I am going to work with dancers, and I'm going to be a physical therapist. So that's kind of how it happened, and I was really fortunate to get this job, and I've been really lucky to be able to work on a lot of Broadway shows, and it's been a really great experience.
Does that background benefit you as you're working through these?
Absolutely, especially having injured myself dancing. I feel like I can, relate to these people. I totally understand what they're going through and the demands that it takes to be able to do this show a million times. And I think that that's really an amazing thing. Like in my office, every PT has been in the performing arts in some capacity. So we really can relate to our patients, which I think is important in this field in particular.
This is The Broadway Show, and we're back in just a few.
Hey everyone, it's Jelani Remy. I play the role of Goldie Wilson and Marvin Berry in Back to the Future on Broadway, and you are watching The Broadway Show.
My name is Michael Maliakel, and I'm playing Aladdin on Broadway. It feels surreal for so many reasons. It's my Broadway debut, and then the added layer of being representative of the South Asian community in the theater world. Everything about it is incredible. Aladdin was every brown kid's prince growing up. He was it, and he was it, meaning there wasn't much else in mainstream media for young brown kids to look up to and aspire to and see themselves represented as. There's so many things about the original film. My brothers and I absolutely annihilated that VHS. It must be in shreds somewhere in my parents' house. Over the years, especially as I started singing, every family gathering, even like a karaoke, it's like go sing A Whole New World. And now to be like on a Broadway stage getting paid to sing A Whole New World, I get goosebumps thinking about that. I grew up in central New Jersey, in Hamilton. My first love was really music. I consider myself a musician at heart. Theater sort of came into my life a little bit later. In high school, I did a couple of shows. It was Sky Masterson and Guys and Dolls. I think it was probably the first time that I really was like, this is fun. And I think I could see myself doing this for the future. I get asked a lot, like, was this your dream growing up? Was this like a lifelong dream that you're realizing, debuting on Broadway? And the honest answer is no. It wasn't a dream that I allowed myself to have. It's hard to dream something that you can't see, especially as a young kid, if you don't have something in front of you to light that path. In so many ways, this role and this opportunity feel a lot bigger than me. My hope is that being on stage at the New Amsterdam, that young kids will show up and have the fuel to dream big and know that these opportunities are there for them, that they deserve to take up these spaces.
Thanks for staying with us for this latest episode of The Broadway Show. I'm so glad you're here. And Juliet was one of this year's most celebrated shows at the Tony Awards with 9 nominations, including Best Musical and Best Costume Design. Here's Beth Stevens with another edition of Building Broadway.
Thanks, Tamsen. Tony-winning costume designer Paloma Young offers an array of Shakespearean chic for and Juliet. I talked to her about the inspiration behind the pop musical. So this show takes Shakespeare and Romeo and Juliet and just does this amazing blend with pop culture and, musical icons. So tell me what you did in terms of research to mix these two elements.
We did want it to feel like anyone who has ever had any experience with a Shakespeare show would get something that they expected, but in an unexpected way. So we've got some corsets, we've got some doublets, we've got some pumpkin hose, we've got one codpiece. But then each of those pieces gets mixed with contemporary streetwear that feels very 90s and 2000s. It was a combination of building our capital C costume pieces from scratch and doing that within our sort of candy color palette and then making them seem very old. We had some great breakdown artists on the show, as if we've had them for years and years. And
so breakdown artists are people who are roughing up the costumes?
Yeah, distressing. And actually some of these clothes are very difficult to break down because they're athletic wear. It's not meant to look old. Last, right? It's meant to look brand new as long as possible. So in some ways, like Nike and Adidas were the bane of my existence because they made their clothes too good.
Well, that's something I think people don't even realize about costume design for Broadway. These people are moving, they're doing 8 shows a week. These have to, no matter how much you distress them, they have to be durable. And tell us a little bit about that aspect of it.
This show, because it wants to look quite broken in, has been a really fun challenge to figure out how to make things that are hardy enough to be danced in full out 8 times a week. And so there are a lot of tweaks. We want these costumes to look like they're being maintained by a scrappy troupe of actors. The concept of our design only improves the more that these costumes get repaired.
And that's going to do it for us. Until next time, I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.